friends, welcome back to the channel. So as you may or may not know, my wife and I moved to Thailand a little over a year and a half ago, and we moved to Jom Tien, south of Bangkok. It was at a beach. We had a condo overlooking the ocean, and so after about 6 months of living here, I started doing what I had intended to do all the time in retirement, which was get in shape. So I just started simply by just getting up 5:30 in the morning because it's already 74 degrees there, and I'd go walk for about a mile, and I did that for a while, and a couple weeks later I started doing these chair exercises, and the chair exercises were great because I could do them right in my living room. I just had to like pull out a chair and turn on YouTube, and I'd been seeing these videos on Facebook or social media, just showing these men's chair yoga programs, these apps for it. It's like, I'm not going to buy an app uh, for that. I'm sure I can find it somewhere on YouTube. So I started looking around YouTube, and sure enough, we found Chair Fit Camp, which is run by this guy Donovan, and he had some really like cool 10-minute exercises that you could do, basically like calisthenics and like some cardio kind of ab work sitting in a chair. And it was cool because, like I said, you could just do it right in your living room, just pull out a chair and do it. And so that was cool. And so I started doing a couple of those, uh, doing about 20 minutes of it after a while. And on the Chair Fit Camp, they've got a whole bunch of other types of videos too that incorporate other stuff, and I'll tell you about that in a bit. But in February, a year ago, I started doing this, and I did it when Tree had gone to Arizona to visit her father and take care of some of our stuff at our property. And when she came back in March, she started doing the exercises with me. So we added some thigh bands and started for glute and leg work and stuff like that. And I started doing like longer workouts, and one of them uses a 1 meter long PVC pipe for doing, and you just put it like behind your head. It's a whole bunch of like different exercises, mostly for abs. That one is really good. It's one of my favorites. But we did that with the bands, and we included a stretching routine, and we just did those. It's about a half hour all the way around, and so we were doing those for a bit, and then uh, unfortunately, Tree's dad died in May. He fell. And when she had been out there, she was trying to she had gotten him a walker and stuff, and he just didn't want to use it, and he didn't want to just didn't really want the help that he needed. So he fell one day and he got a brain injury, and in 2 weeks he was dead. And that really hit me pretty hard. It's just like, I'm retired, going on 65. I don't want that to happen to me. At the time I was 64, but I'm still 64. Anyway, I didn't want that to be my fate. So I just started really like working harder, and I started doing some research about like diet and nutrition, things like that, and ways to work off belly fat, different exercises, nutrition stuff. And I found this guy, Ben Azidi, on YouTube that he's not a doctor, but he used to be a fat guy. And so he self-taught himself all these things about nutrition, and he has got a lot of good advice. So I'll put his link down in the description as well. And so I started working harder, and I started looking at things like Ben, and I came across this intermittent walking technique, which is a Japanese walking technique. And basically it's you walk 3 minutes at like 40% power, and then you walk 3 minutes at 70%. And 70% is, you're walking fast enough to have a conversation, but like you'd run out of breath doing it. You know what I mean? So I started walking a little bit further than I had been. I'd been walking about a mile. And so I started walking a little bit further. And then I saw a challenge to what would happen to your body if you did 40 squats on a YouTube video. And so I started doing 40 squats for a month, and I was pretty amazed at the change there. Not just like in shape and like my legs getting smaller, but just that it made it easier to walk further, and just to do a lot of things, like, my balance and everything was better. So yeah, so one of the things that Ben Azidi turned us on to was using apple cider vinegar 30 minutes before bed. And he has a video on his channel about what the process is when you take it and what happens hour by hour for fat burning while you're sleeping. So I started doing that, and I started noticing that almost right away. So that might be something you want to try. Yeah. So we also talked about the importance of protein and building muscle. And I started learning about how older people start losing muscle basically at 40, but they lose it progressively as they get older. So you start talking about creatine. And I know about creatine for like people that lift weights and stuff, but for older people, it's good just to like help build those muscles that are losing. And they say it's also good for like mental clarity and stuff like that. So that's a really good thing. And let's see what something else he talked about was a medium roast coffee that's high in a certain type of chemical that's also good for fat burning. So we switched from a dark roast to a medium roast, and that he recommended. So not the coffee that he recommended, just a medium roast that's not that has more of that content. And our supplement regimen is pretty basic: Cal, Mag, potassium, D3, and then we do a collagen complex and peptides with some black seed oil that's really good for your skin and your hair and digestion. So yeah, that's good. And so then the next thing that happened was I got a better pair of shoes. And so the shoes allowed me to like take longer walks because I don't know if I mentioned it, but I have gout. And in my whole life, I've never like been able to walk more than like a couple miles without my feet hurting. I remember walking 5 miles one time. I had to take a taxi home. It was like, so anyway, I realized that once I got some good shoes, it definitely made it easier to walk further. And I've been taking care of the gout through my diet and medication for forever. So that's pretty much under control. But I was definitely able to walk further with a good pair of Hokas. So yeah, the Hokas are good. And when Tree came back from Arizona, we started upping the exercises and just like doing extended exercises. And we started, like I said, we had the bands and stuff like that. So we just started doing like closer to like 40 minutes, kind of doubling the time that we were doing. So at that point, I had pretty much lost all the weight that I had wanted to lose. It was about 65 pounds where I was like, feeling good, but just got like this belly fat. It's just like, how do I get this off? It's just like really stubborn. So, anyway, we moved to Chiang Mai, and we moved to Chiang Mai. We got this 3-bedroom house, and it's in a gated community, which is really nice because there's no traffic and the streets are really flat, and they're in really good condition. There's no like potholes and stuff like that. And there's no traffic, just the people that live here. There's no through traffic here. So it's nice to get up early in the morning and just basically at dawn, get out and go for a walk for an hour. So now I walk for an hour doing the intermittent walking. And Tree, when she came back, she brought these Apple Watches, and like we were using for a little while. And but then they started malfunctioning for whatever reason, and we ended up she got an Apple Watch because she's got that phone, and I got a Galaxy Watch. Um, and so yeah, so moving to Chiang Mai, the project's really nice, and they've got a really well equipped gym and a beautiful pool. And we use the pool when it's super hot, but the gym is upstairs, and it's just not air conditioned, so it's just really hot, and it's just like I wouldn't want to work out up there. I'd be like pass out. And I bought a weight bench and some dumbbells, and I decked out one of our rooms. I put those interlocking floor pads like at the gym. I just pretty much covered most of the floor with that, and I put the dumbbells and the bench in there. And I also got a treadmill so that I could walk in the afternoons. I was walking in the condo we were in. I would go. They had a gym and they had a treadmill, air conditioned, and I would go walk there in the afternoons after lunch. And so anyway, I got a treadmill, I put it in the room, which is really great. And like I said, Tree got those watches, which made it a lot easier to like keep track of the calories we were burning, listen to music like while we're walking, and also have the timer go off, whether vibration or sound, for the intermittent walking, and that really helped a lot. So yeah, we just went along doing that for a while, and I started putting on muscle. I started noticing my belly going down a little bit. It's like putting on muscle. You don't really lose weight, but you know your body changes. So I was appreciating the body changes to the point of like I didn't really get on the scale much anymore because it's just like I can kind of see and feel everything that's kind of happening. one of the biggest breakthroughs that's happened for us is adding kettlebells. So I've continued to like watch videos, like see what some of the best things that we could add that would be like motivational for us to do at home in a home gym. And so I got a kettlebell and I started doing it, and I just started really noticing like the change in like my balance and like my core strength, and just because it's like it's combination moves, from like swinging them to like to lifting and doing squats with them and then raising them up and things like that. So there's all these different combo moves that just like it's more like structural and functional for like exercise, you know what I mean? Which is better. I'm not really looking to like build huge muscles. I'm just looking to be in shape so that I don't fall and have a long life and be healthy enough to like go out and travel and do the things that we want to do. Um, so also in November, I tried running in the morning. So I do my intermittent walking, and the the second 3 minutes when I'm walking fast, I decided to try running for the first minute. So I did that for like 2 days, and just like my groin muscle. I mean, I haven't run in 30 years because of the gout. Um, but it's like I kind of pulled a groin muscle. So I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. So I just like figured, okay, I'll just do walking. And then I realized, well, I got a treadmill inside. So I'll just start walking inside, because the good thing about the treadmill I got, it has an adjustable bed so you can make it softer. So it's like the softest feels kind of like you're walking on grass. So that with a good pair of shoes, after the groin muscle got better, I started running again. And on that thing, I makes it a lot easier to run with the adjustable bed. So I started doing just that first minute again. And just recently I started, I'd go at 9.5 kilometers for that for an hour for that first minute. And then for the second 2 minutes, I'll drop it down to 7.5 kilometers. And then, but still it's like super fast walking or like slow jog walking. So I just kind of mix between those two. So yeah, so basically that's about where I'm at now. My daily routine is basically this: we get up at 5:30, and we do some stretching, and we just like get ourselves ready to like go out for our walk. And at 6:30, I do an hour walking, and I get about, if I'm doing it the way I'm doing it right now, I get about 7 kilometers in that hour and burn about 540, 560 calories, something like that. Um, and then after that, we have protein shake with creatine and collagen peptides in it. And then after a few vape rips, we get the medium roast drip coffee, which is another thing I think I mentioned that I learned from Ben about that helps burn fat versus the dark roast, which I guess the dark roast burns off that chemical, which so at a medium roast, it stays intact more. And around 9 a.m. is when we start doing our exercises in the living room. So we have a couple of those other pads. We pull them out in the living room, and we got these chairs that we put on them so they don't slide around. And we do a combination of different exercises that use dumbbells. And because Donovan on that ChairFit camp, he's got exercises that use dumbbells and the bands. So we combine all those different exercises and we mix them up. And now we mix in the kettlebells. And so we do probably like 25 to 30 minutes of kettlebells, and then like 25 minutes of various other chair exercises. And then we do our stretching. And yeah, after that, it's like, 10 a.m. and we're just hanging out, just doing whatever we're doing, seeing what's on, what's happening in the world, and, twisting them up. And then we have lunch. We often have lunch delivered because Grab is a thing that delivery costs about, often free, and sometimes maybe like $1 for delivery. And then, even when you tip the driver, it's like you paid, $3 for a killer lunch. So there's a lot of different things to choose from. But we go out a lot for lunch too. But I always like to, whether I go out for lunch or whether I eat here, I like to go for a walk after lunch for a half hour, 45 minutes, just to boost up that calorie burn so I can have some snacks in the afternoon. You know what I mean? That's like a big part of why I do this too, is because I love snacks. And so I don't want to like deprive myself of something I love. So with all the time in the world being retired, I can put in a little extra work for that, you know. So that's basically my daily routine. And but the other things we do in the middle of that is we go for joy rides in our electric car, which is awesome. Just like yesterday, we went to this awesome place up in the mountains called Mae Kampong. It's this little village of just like, it's beautiful. I'll show a picture right here. But anyway, I just wanted to like give you an update on where I am for where I, where I came from and where I've gotten to. When I started, I weighed at one point I weighed over 250 when I was in Thailand, and now I'm down to like right about 180. And but I put on probably a good 10 pounds of muscle at least, and I definitely look different than I did then. You can see the picture right here too. This I'll leave it right here at the very end. So if you want to see, you got to watch it all the way to the end. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to share my journey with you. Somebody asked me one time what I was doing, and I was like, I promised him that I would like make a video about it, and I just lagged, and so it's probably taken me like 4 or 5 months to get around to doing it. But I kind of wanted to be at a certain point, and a year seemed like a good place to do it. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions about anything that I'm doing, for like a lazy hippie that just wants to get in shape, you know what I mean, wants to stay alive and be healthy, um, put it in the comments. I'll answer all comments. And yeah, thanks for checking us out. Love you guys. Peace.